Hello everybody, Hithrail here again. Had a request to start running through the minor factions, and I don't have a ton of time to make videos this week, but I did start taking a look at the Ghilam faction. They're one of the Asurai-related minor clans, and so wanted to run through the changes in beta 1.41, and then I'm going to run through some tweaks I did on a mod that I've made, Hithrail's Troop Fixer. So for the base Coleman, their athletics were decreased from 30 to 20, their riding from 40 down to 50, their one-handed from 50 to 40, their two-handed increased from 10 to 20, and their bow and throwing both increased from 0 to 5. So this unit's gotten worse. They're quite a bit worse now than comparable tier 11 units, or I should say they're more in line, but their overall points values don't really match. There were no equipment changes. Turning to the Gilman now, athletics increased from 60 to 70, but their riding decreased from 100 down to 40, so I suspect that this is a bug on the developer's part, where these two stats really should be swapped, because clearly these are cavalry units. One-handed took a big hit from 90 down to 60. Two-handed increased from 20 to 40. Pole had a minor decrease from 90 to 80. Bow increased from 0 to 10. Crossbow from 5 to 10. And thrown from 0 to 30. Lastly, the Ghilam had the athletics increased a whopping 2 points from 80 to 82. Their riding was cut in half from 200 down to 100. Their one-handed cut in half from 180 down to 90. Their two-handed increased from 40 to 50. Pole arm decreased from 180 to 110. Bow from 15 to 20. Crossbow from 5 to 35. And thrown 20 to 45. For the Ghilam, this is a major decrease in stats, but it actually pulls them in line with what a level 21 or actually closer to level 26 character rather than a level 21 should be. So that's where this faction is at currently. I'm going to throw in a quick save and show how they look underneath my mod. So I will be back in just a minute. Cheers. Okay, everybody, I am back. So I want to run through the tweaks that I made to the Gilman faction. So for the Colemans, I gave them more armor. The wording, at least, is from the Abbasid dynasty. And so like kind of the Egyptian dynasties later on, or the later Egyptian Mamluk dynasties, the Gilmans were kind of a predecessor to the more well-known Mamluk slave soldiers. Some say that the wording is synonymous. So with that in mind, they're more kind of dedicated soldier role. I gave the Colemans proper helmets, some light armor. The Gilmans, I gave more leather armor. Again, I've mentioned this in previous videos. I like the more consistent theming and clear upgrades in armor as you move along, so I've kept with that. Given them some of the light-plated armor. Previously, both of them basically were running around in robes. The pointed southern helm, and then they still have the decorated vambraces and boots from the base files. Next up, the Ghilam. I left their armor unchanged, but I upgraded them to a tier 2 horse, as befitting their status as heavy cavalry. And now I'm going to walk through their stats. So the Coleman upped their one-handed a little bit, polearm a little bit, and riding a little bit. So generally my thought process behind my mod with the minor factions is make their tier 1s a little bit more powerful and then pull the rest of their units in line with where they should be. The Gilman conformed a lot of their stats, kind of running straight down this line, except for I buffed their bow and throwing both to 40, and I've added minor variants now. Some will have a bow, some will have a javelin as well. They were kind of overall, in a lot of the imagery and information I could pull up, they were kind of jack of all trades units. They would have archery contests, things like that. So I figured making them a little bit more mixed while still being a more geared towards medium to heavy cavalry theme. And then lastly, for the Ghulams, there's a variant with a bow, and there will also be a variant with throwing weapons as well. And in terms of the stats, you'll see that compared to the base version that I talked about, I've increased their one-handed polearm and riding up to 130, and their bow and throwing are at 60. So they're not going to win any contests, but it does give a little bit of kind of mixed fire and make these units a little bit more complete in and of themselves. Thank you all, and hope you have a great day. Cheers.